Have you ever met someone for the first time and within seconds you felt like you already knew how you felt about them? Nothing bad happened, no one said anything wrong, but the feeling was already there. Today I'm going to talk about how people size you up in the first 30 seconds and why tiny, normal behaviors end up shaping that feeling much more than we realize. All right, let's get started today with a real example. I regularly go to a content creators meetup here in Raleigh. It's a good group, same faces most months, but always a few new people. This last time, there were a lot of new faces, and I was genuinely excited to meet people, to mingle, and to hear what they were working on and swap ideas. But within the first 10 minutes, a few things stood out. One person showed up, did the initial like meet and greet thing, and then left. Nothing about that is wrong, but you can imagine it immediately changed how I felt about them. It felt less like I'm here to be a part of this and more like I just wanted to make an appearance. Another person seemed mostly focused on pitching their new software. And I know you've been through this where people pitch and pitch or they feel like they're overly salesy. I don't even know if it's on purpose all the time, but it happens. Every interaction quietly points back to that one thing. Again, not bad people, but the feeling is already forming for me. And that's the thing most people miss about first impressions. People aren't consciously judging you, they're reacting to the moment and what it feels like. They, in their head, are thinking, am I enjoying this? Does this feel mutual? Does this feel relaxed or transactional? And those answers will show up right in your head fast, and they tend to stick. What made that night also interesting is that the opposite happened later in the night. A few people were brand new to creating content and new to the group, new to me, and clearly were in the early part of that process. They were just getting started. And what's great is they were curious. They weren't pitching anything, they weren't trying to impress anyone. They were just curious. And I actually enjoyed those conversations more because it felt like we're here to exchange ideas and help each other think. Same room, same meetup, very different impressions. So here's idea one. People decide how they feel before they decide what they think. That's when it clicked for me. In the first 30 seconds, sometimes in the first few minutes, people aren't analyzing you, they're deciding. They're deciding things like, does this feel easy? Does this feel one sided? Do I want more of this interaction or less? Do I get that ick feeling? And once that feeling lands, the brain starts building a story around it. And the biggest aha moment came later that night. We all sat down in a circle and did introductions. The prompt was simple, just who you are and what you're working on this year. And the difference between people was fascinating. Some people were clear, knew what they were going to say, got to the point. They immediately shared who they were and what they were about. Others dragged on. They didn't mean to, but it took a long time. They were adding all these extra details, explaining things that no one had asked about yet. They didn't seem to know where they wanted to go. Now, nothing they said was wrong, but you could feel the energy shift in the room. People weren't confused. They're just waiting and waiting, right? Like waiting for the person to be done. And when you're hoping that someone's going to finish, you're really not listening to them. Now, it's in these moments, right? It's in these moments where these first impressions are quietly seeping in. I'm not doing this on purpose, but I'm starting to have feelings about these people in a good way or in a bad way. And what stood out wasn't confidence or experience, because some of the confident people were very much talking and talking and talking. It was effort. Effort's the word I would use to describe it. They were trying to say everything, cover every angle, make sure you understood. They're trying to prove that they belong. And early on, that trying too hard effort, that energy, it's loud. Now, when someone shared that was being calm, that calm, even if it's not perfect, it reads as confidence. It reads like they know what they're doing. So here's the important kind of new way to think about it. First impressions aren't about saying the perfect thing. They're about letting the moment breathe. People don't all need the context right away. They don't need to know every detail. They just need to feel oriented and at ease. When you give them that, the rest starts to come out naturally. Now, by the end of that meetup, I couldn't tell you exactly what everyone said, but I could tell you how each person kind of gave me a vibe that told me, I want to be more engaged with that person. I want to get to know them more or not. And that's what people carry with them, especially early on. It's how you make them feel, not your words, not the credentials or the experience. It's that feeling you created in the first 30 seconds. That's it for me today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Brands on Brand.